Welcome one and all to episode 18 of Titan Teatime. I am one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I have my co-host, James.
Domo.
And we are talking about chapter 135 of the Attack on Titan manga in today's episode. A crazy chapter.
Oh my, yes.
I think we can everyone can probably agree on.
I am screaming right now.
I can hear you.
My love for this chapter is, I mean, it's not like story-wise per se, it's not earth-shattering, but it is earth-shattering from a lore and a just action plot twist kind of point of view. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that's what made it so impactful. And this is the first chapter in this volume, potentially, right?
Yes, you're right. This is the first chapter of a volume. Possibly the last volume.
And possibly, we can't say for sure, but possibly the last one. And what a way to start the volume is just what I want to say.
Yes.
Woo!
Oh my god. I don't know. I usually keep pretty good track of like when's the last and when's the first volume and stuff. But actually, I didn't think of it for this chapter until right now when you mentioned it. So yeah, definitely a strong opening to a volume.
The reason why I bring that up is I was driving around all day today. Oh my gosh. Won't go into that, but anyway, I had a lot to think about because I read this chapter before that.
Oh yeah, good.
For some reason, I thought this was the second chapter in the last volume, or the supposed last volume, and so I was really worried, like, how is he going to wrap this all up in 2 more chapters? And then I was thinking, I realized, no, this is the first one. There's actually 3 more chapters. Okay, we're good. Oh, hype is back. Let's go. So anyway, I'm excited. I think this is a good way to start it off, and there's 3 more chapters to resolve a lot of things. In my opinion.
Right. And actually, speaking of this, we talked last month about it feels pretty safe to say that this is the last volume, the one that's just starting this month.
Mm-hmm.
Because Isayama made a statement that there's 1 to 2% left of the story, and 1 volume more was pretty much the only like answer that fit in with that. However, I have to just say that after this chapter, like before, like last month, I totally was down with that. But after this chapter that came out this month, I'm much more kind of thinking that there may be this volume plus another one after that left.
Oh.
I don't know.
So you're kind of the opposite of me then.
I think so, yeah.
There needs to be more, which I would be totally down with. I think he can expound on more things. But like I said, I was thinking at first that there was only 2 more chapters. And it was like, no, wait, but 3 more chapters. Oh, okay. Right. I do see where you're coming from. It is going to be interesting to see how he puts together if this is the last volume.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm still thinking he'll do it in 3 more chapters. But I am definitely not opposed to 2, or 2 volumes.
Volumes, right? Yeah, yeah.
This one and another one.
Right. Yeah. Regardless, in Isayama we trust. I can't stress that enough because I really do. Yeah. I really do. He has yet to really disappoint me. So, yeah. The chapter is called Battle of Heaven and Earth. How do you interpret that?
Good question. I went back to read it because when I first read it, I was immediately focused on Ymir, so I kind of just forgot about the chapter. But I went back and read it, and I was thinking. I think the most obvious one for me is God versus humanity, or the creatures below on the earth. That kind of a mentality. And then another interpretation was, the battle on Earth, and then Falco comes in from the skies. And then one other thing I thought of was, what if there is, I don't know, it's kind of convoluted, but the people of Earth are, the humanity and animals and everything, whereas the Titans, because their power comes from this strange, godlike supernatural thing, is the heavens. So maybe that's the kind of, the heavens, because in some mythology, Titans were considered godlike, correct?
Yeah.
Were they deity?
In Norse mythology, the giants and the gods are like basically, on the same level.
One and the same,
like,
or the same.
More or less.
Same level.
At the very least, they're very close.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it's talking about,
Mm,
heavens, titans versus earth, mortals.
right.
Well, humans.
Right, yeah. I also had a similar thought of that, but I think what I probably choose to think or believe in mostly, or the way I choose to interpret it primarily, is
Hmm.
that Earth is Aaron and Ymir, like because they kind of represent the
Oh.
like the devil, who is like Earth, like the Earth devil.
Uh-huh.
I suppose in some way, at least based on like the old tales, which weren't completely true, but that's kind of what they represent, I think, right now.
Hmm.
And the others are, well, the Wings of Freedom used to be, the Cervicore, and they flew in on a plane, and Falco flew in as a Titan. Like, there's a lot of
Hmm.
like heaven like related like flying things on the Alliance right now. Although, but yeah, like I think it's supposed to be like interpreted in multiple ways actually. So I don't think any of these is right. Like the
True.
right answer.
I will say just that the focus, at least for the person they were fighting, was less Aaron and more Ymir,
Mm,
I feel like. And
mm,
obviously we'll go into their her motives and relation with Aaron and everything, but
right.
I think that for the most, I personally think it deals more with Ymir herself, but I do see what you're saying that it could be a devil earth kind of a thing. And we do know that Ymir made, or supposedly the legend says that, I mean, we already know what the truth is, but the legend
Mm,
says that Ymir made the pact with the devil.
right.
So maybe there's some sort of connection, earth connection there.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting for sure. Like I like how Isayama sometimes when like it's just in the titles he puts these. It's just interesting to discuss the title
Mm-hmm.
because he had a chapter called Wings of Freedom recently, the one where Hanji and Flock died.
Yeah.
That was also I think a good title where
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of things to talk about regarding it. But anyway, the first page I think has a few interesting things about it that I want to talk
Mm.
about. Uh, we get to see we get confirmed basically that Ymir was the one who freed
Mm-hmm.
the pigs. She wasn't just like
They
unfairly
didn't just blame
blamed.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, she actually did do it.
I'll be honest. I think I was one person who interpreted as, yeah, they just put the blame on her. I mean, I
Mm,
thought it could have been possible it was her fault, but I just thought, oh no, they just probably blamed her. But at least according to this, it seems more like it looks like she was taking care of the pigs, and then one night or something, she just let it open.
right.
Maybe she had a moment of thought where, and I'll go into this, but she just wanted to leave it open. So I'll take the L on that one.
Fair.
Like, clearly I wasn't quite understanding the whole situation. I still think that what the soon to be Eldian people did, the slaves, just straight up blaming her, was kind of
Mm.
messed up. But at the same time, they're in a messed up situation.
Oh
So
yes.
it's, I don't know, like it's hard to blame people when there was someone to be blamed, even though she is a child. I don't know. I still feel bad for her. She was put in a terrible situation. So
Well, for
um,
sure. Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. But anyway, that's besides the point.
What I thought was, or I think, well, something like a parallel between this first page and I think the situation that's happening now in the story is that Ymir in the past took it in her own hands to free these pigs. Freedom. Like kind of like an Aaron kind of mentality, but on
Mm-hmm.
a like in a different way, of course, like a different scale. But basically, she's setting these pigs free, even though they're pigs. They don't care if they're free or living inside of a little fence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not saying that the Eldians don't care that they're free, because obviously they've been fighting for freedom this whole time. But Aaron still he's taking it into his own hands and setting them free in a way that they didn't choose. You know, and
That's fair.
these pigs didn't choose this freedom either. They just the gate happened to be open, so they happened to walk out of it. It wasn't an intentional like becoming free thing for the pigs.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably some kind of symbolism there or similarity there.
I totally think that's a fair interpretation of it. And I think to a degree, I can agree with it, especially as time goes on, you see more of that mentality in them and
Mm.
comes to light. Here's some other possibilities that I thought of, and I'll form them in questions, and you can disagree or agree with them.
All right.
Is Ymir contemplating the consequences of her actions that day as she looks over, the the alliance, getting on the resistance, getting on Aaron's
Mm.
back? Is she longing for freedom, and that's why she let the pigs free because she's trying to somehow gain that freedom. Like she sees herself in the same state of chains and slavery, and so
Mm.
by letting the pigs free, she feels she can at least give someone a sense of freedom. Or is she trying to give? Oh, I already said that one. I guess those. I guess I put two questions together.
Ah, ah.
Or actually, is she trying to give the people of the world some kind of freedom we just don't understand? So going back to your analogy with the pigs, they don't understand that the world outside might be a better place for them. Well, I mean, technically, maybe it's not. I don't know. I mean, you get free food all the time, but then you get slaughtered for food. So it's give or take.
Right, right.
So at least in Ymir's mind, the outside world, outside of the pen, is better than being in there. It's a better place. And so perhaps there's some sort of freedom that they want to give the world or humanity, that we just don't understand yet, and is probably quite convoluted.
Mm.
But I could see there being some sort of twist in that sense. Now I'm not
Right.
saying that is for sure a thing, just maybe one possibility. So anyway, those are my thoughts on what that could be interpreted as. Don't know if we'll get more light on that in the future. I would like to hear Ymir talk at one point, or maybe she doesn't need to talk, but I want her to get some closure because it's her life has been so sad, and all she's wanted is some sort of freedom, but she's been a slave to the Eldian bloodline and to the Titan powers for so long.
Hmm.
I don't know. I really feel for her, but at the same time, I want them to be stopped. So,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
it's
can I have both?
it's strange. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, or yeah, I guess we'll see. It's really hard. But one thing though, I think the last thing I wanted to point out about this first page is that we get to see on the bottom panel of this page, we actually get to see Ymir's eyes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That's got to be the first time, right?
No. We saw her eyes when Aaron um,
Oh,
gripped her and said, "You are.
yes.
I will make you free," or something
Oh
like
my
that,
God, you're right. You're
or I'll
right.
destroy this world, or
How
whatever.
could I forget about that? Yeah, when he's hugging her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. But that's the only two times in that case. I'm pretty sure.
Now I don't remember if he said the word freedom exactly, but if he did at the time she opened her eyes, then that is maybe there's some symbolism there where being free is what makes her alive, or I
Right.
don't know.
I mean,
That's
I could absolutely see that because she was probably, born as a slave and, her whole life she was a slave. So I think absolutely that could be the case with her. And as you
mm-hmm.
mentioned before also like a drive force for her just in general, like the fact that she set these pigs loose is because she sees part of like her struggle in them, even though they don't have that same struggle. But she kind of, I think, she could probably reflect it onto them in a way, which is fair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say on the first page, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I hope we have the answer there somewhere, but maybe we're off. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
If anyone listening has any ideas or thoughts just in general about this, I mean, we're only one page in, but anything that's on your mind, please share it in the comments. So getting into the actual present day, we get it confirmed that the Beast Titan was a dummy, which we sort
mm-hmm.
of suspected based on, well, I pointed out that it looked like the colors looked different. It looked like brighter, and you pointed out that it looked like it was like formed out of the wire thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I think should have been obvious for me to see. I just for some reason missed it.
Yeah, I think what the biggest thing is this confirms that Zeke's body is not there, and then I think you were thinking, oh, maybe Aaron's body could be there too, but obviously that's not the case.
Right. Yeah.
So leave. I think no, it's Armin that says that Zeke's body must be somewhere else, like with the Warhammer Titan. However, that was before Ymir sends out the Titan Avengers. And maybe a bad way, but
Yeah.
it definitely a bad way. But they didn't know that that was possible. So is Zeke's body still there? Is Armin correct? With his body is just below the Titan somewhere, or in the bones, or something like that, or were they mistaken?
I think they were mistaken. I
Hmm.
think, based on what we learned later in the chapter, I think Zeke is dead.
Okay.
That's the only because if we take Peak's word for like as a fact, which obviously it shouldn't be viewed as like a definite fact, but her speculation about that all of those titans are titans from like the past, like previous
Mm-hmm.
of the nine titans.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess we go under the assumption that these titans have to have passed away in order to be created there. They
Mm-hmm.
created like they and the beast titan we saw was definitely Zeke's beast titan, and it functioned exactly the same way as all of those other titans that we saw in this chapter. So with that logic, at least for now, I'm going to assume that Zeke is dead. He probably would have died when Eren transformed all around him, which would have
Mm-hmm.
been, incredibly like an incredible blast and heat and everything, like stuff like that. Zeke probably died there.
It's highly likely now. I think there's still a possibility that somehow Eren was able to shield him just like he did Mikasa and Armin all those chapters ago.
Mm, mm,
Um, Back when he first discovered his powers. It's
right.
still a possibility,
Yeah.
but there's nothing saying that he can't still use the body in order to connect with Ymir. Then again, he probably has to have some sort of conscience in order for that to work. Otherwise, the blood wouldn't work, right? Because he'd be dead.
Right. I mean, yeah, I'm not so sure. If and also if Zeke died, and if he
Mm-hmm.
died in that way, he wouldn't have been eaten if that was the case. He just died in another way. Then a baby Eldian newly born would gain his beast titan power,
Mm-hmm.
possibly Historia's child. I
Possibly Astoria's child,
but
but
but we don't know anything for
was
sure.
that too much time to pass in between for that to happen?
I don't know. It depends on. I guess it depends if any other
Baby was
baby
reborn.
was born before that. Or, I don't know. But the thing is, we've never seen that gimmick actually happen. Every time we've seen someone gain a titan power, it's been through consumption.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a little hard to speculate too much. I think since we've never seen it in the story.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think we're going to see it possibly before the story's over in some way, like something like that.
I don't think so. I think that we just have to take it for its word. You know what I mean? Like,
Possibly, yeah.
you know. But I could be wrong.
But you think Zeke is alive?
Um, it's hard to say. I
It
and I
is.
and I know it's hard hard for you too, but I for some reason I just have this idea that this whole plan of Aaron's wouldn't work unless Zeke was still his body was still alive in some way,
Mm,
and it's somewhere on Aaron's body, and that I think that's their goal right now. Besides just destroying Aaron's head, but anyway, I mean we'll go into future predictions later on, but For
Mhm.
now, I think I'm gonna say yes, he's still alive. Because I
Right.
don't think you can just have a body and still connect to paths and Ymir that way.
Right. I think okay, so my thought about that is because if I'm not mistaken, the powers of the founding titan to access the coordinate and, to gain these amazing powers that the founding titan has.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, anyone with a founding titan could access that power. It was a king at some point. Was it Fritz or someone before him? My memory about this is a little fuzzy, but I feel like I read at one point that one of the kings kind of made it so that only those with royal blood holding the founding titan could access its full potential.
Was that in the what arc was that? Was that in the
It might have been the uprising arc, although uh, I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm just making shit up. I hope I'm not, but uh, yeah. So I guess don't take
maybe
this
maybe
like
we'll have
too.
to look it up later.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I definitely want to. I'm definitely gonna do that. But at least for now, going under the assumption that this is the case, and I'm well aware that I could be mistaken. But if it is the case that there was a king who kind of made it so that only the royal-blooded Eldians could access that power when they had the founding titan, I think something happened with Ymir when Eren interacted with her in paths. I think if what I think happened way before this about with the royal blood thing, I think Eren undid that.
Yeah, if that did indeed happen, I forgive me for not remembering as well. But if that did indeed happen,
Hmm.
then yeah, Aaron would have definitely just kind of like, not anymore.
Right.
New
Yeah.
rules.
Because if it can be done, then it can be undone. I think
Mm-hmm.
by someone who is at the coordinate and who is interacting with Ymir there. So and if that is the case, then Zeke
Then
wouldn't
you wouldn't
be
need, you wouldn't need
right.
Zeke.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna look this up after the episode. But I'm gonna for now. I believe that's the case, and I believe Zeke is dead.
That's fair. That is totally fair.
Mm. So yeah, moving on a little bit in the chapter, we get a little bit of a disturbing imagery with Armin and a very long tongue.
Well, I think before that, I think it's important to bring up
Okay.
the Irwin. Don't you think the Irwin
Yeah, let's talk about Irvin, I
Armin?
suppose. Yeah.
Just because here we have Armin again, who we thought was ready to take the leadership role, and I think he is, but he's still having these issues, these inner
Mm.
turmoil that am I just doing this for selfish reasons? Do I need to, or well, selfish reasons may be the wrong word. Do I need to put down my morals and my ideology in order for the greater good? Which
Mm.
is he's not he's doesn't want to sacrifice anybody. He doesn't want to let anybody die. But Irwin's mentality was is someone who can't throw anything away will never be able to change anything. I
Mm.
do you think that Armin will eventually embrace that mentality, or will he, I through some critical thinking, come to the knowledge or accepting that his way of wanting to save everybody is just as acceptable as Irwin's way?
I'm in, I'm enjoying this struggle that Armin has. Like,
Yeah.
for the sake of the story, I'm enjoying it, but I do think he's going to overcome it, and I think the thing that he needs to be able to let go of is Eren.
Hmm.
That's my thinking about that. I think in the end, he's going to have to let Eren go by possibly taking his life. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, it's hard to say who's going to kill Eren. Is Eren even going to
Mm-hmm.
die? And if he dies, is he going to be specifically killed by anyone? Obviously, it's hard to say, but something at
Yeah.
least related to that, I think, is what Eren, or I think is was what Armin is going to have to do, and I think that might be what this is all is leading up to.
I I agree with that. At the same time, I go back to last chapter the very last line from Armin where he says,
Mm.
"We're gonna pull you out, and you're gonna tell me, are you really free?"
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's an important question that they need to ask him, or he needs to answer.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
And in order for that to happen, he can't necessarily kill Eren yet. But at the same time, he has to be if Eren's answer is just completely maniacal
Mm.
and devoid of any sort of reason, then yeah, it's you got to do what's got to be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do enjoy this conflict he has. I can't wait. I can't wait till we get to the point where he has that change or that I don't know that drive. Should be really good.
Hmm. Hmm. And then.
Wait, before you go into that,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know you're really excited for this.
I really want to talk about. Well, so I never thought Attack on Titan would do anything that resembled tentacle porn, but they did it. Isayama, the Mad Lad, did it.
Oh, and
Yeah.
poor Armin. Just
Yes, I feel so sorry
oh
for
my
him.
gosh, he's been molested.
Yeah.
He's been tongued by a tight. I mean,
That's so gross.
it's so
That
like
slimy tongue and just and like
uh,
who knows how deep that's going. Like
yeah.
think about that for a couple seconds.
Do I have to?
No, you don't have to.
uh, uh,
Ah.
about this Titan though, do
Mm.
you think it resembles some sort of animal? I don't know what the tongue.
I was thinking frog.
Oh, a frog. Yeah, I guess a frog could be.
Although if you
It's
look at
weird
it
having the frog teeth. I just see its ears, like it has like these pointy ears, and I thought
right.
either, at least it's what it looks like, pointy ears. And I was
Yeah.
thinking maybe it's either a pig or a horse, but
Yeah.
I,
Could
I
be.
don't know.
It's hard to say. It's hard to tell. It seems like it's either a beast or a jaw titan though, I think.
It, couldn't it be a cart titan?
Could be a car titan too. Could be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess one of those
Actually,
three.
I think it might be a. To me, I think it might be jaw or cart, but I guess a beast is possible.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as we see in the next part, though, I think we see a lot of characteristics that people thought were just the Beast Titan aren't necessarily true.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about the different like Titan designs we see in this chapter because I thought there were a lot of very interesting ones.
Right.
But when Armin is going into the mouth there, oh my god, awful situation. Mm, oh, anyway, he sees Ymir. Or at least
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's implied that he actually does see Ymir there for
Yeah.
a second,
I agree.
which I think is pretty interesting. Like, as far as we know, he's still alive,
Hmm.
but he did see Ymir there, and I mean, as far as we know, the only one who's actually seen Ymir in the real world before was like Ramsey, like a
Hmm.
moment before he died.
Hmm. I remember I didn't go back to that discussion. I should have, but I didn't have time to.
Uh-huh.
But I remember we were thinking maybe it could be just Ymir watching over it, whether from sadness or like, yes, kill them all.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
at this point, I'm thinking it's more, yes, kill them all kind of a mentality. And I just wonder, is this a premonition of some sort? Or does she have a body? I don't know. And because, what was it, Raj? No, not Raj.
Hmm?
Ramsey, Rams, what? The
Ramsey.
kid's name.
Yeah, yeah, Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Yeah.
Because Ramsey saw it, we know that it's not just the Eldian blood that can see her. So I
Yeah.
wonder what the deal here is. And I think the reason why the other guys haven't noticed her yet is they were quite a distance away and there was smoke, steam and everything. So it probably covered her from sight. Potentially. I mean, maybe they just couldn't see her for some reason. But that's one thought I had was they were just too far away and they couldn't notice her with all the steam and
Right.
whatnot.
I don't think she has a physical form.
Mm-hmm.
personally,
That'd be so weird.
it would be weird. I do think she's there more in a spiritual sense, but I guess in some instances people can see her somehow. But I mean, it's very unclear as to how that works.
Hmm.
I guess when maybe it's something like when people are in like a super 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 dire situation, or when they're like suffering from like a massive amounts of distress or something like that. Maybe they can see her then, or
The temporal plane disintegrates and
I mean I don't know,
you,
maybe
well,
because
well,
Armin is absolutely in a lot of distress right now.
right,
I would be
right.
stressed. I would be surprised if he wasn't.
Oh no, I mean yeah, he's totally in
But
distress.
this actually reminded me a little bit of the Trost arc when Armin is about to be eaten by a Titan, but Eren saves him and is eaten instead. Because Armin was like sliding down the tongue of that Titan
Hmm.
before Eren like grabbed him and pulled him out.
I mean, he's had more action with Titans than women. Just you
Oh,
know,
Armin.
but his love
Yeah,
life is just really sad right now.
yeah, just Titan tongues galore.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that it's Ymir who's controlling all of these Titans, and probably safe to assume she also was the one who was controlling the Beast Titan before,
um,
right?
I don't know.
Or at least she's making it so that they're there. Like I get the
I
feeling
wonder.
it's not Eren doing the stuff in this chapter, is what I'm
Oh
thinking.
yeah, in this chapter, totally. I totally agree. And now that you say that, I think yeah, it does make sense that Ymir would have been the one to activate the Beast Titan.
Mm.
But I don't know. Like, I wonder if Eren did the Beast Titan just because it wasn't his friends, but then when it came to when his friends got there, he just let Ymir take care of it,
Hmm.
and Ymir was able to do that. Then again, there's no evidence that says it was Eren who did the Beast Titan. So
Right.
I totally see where it's coming from, and the more I think about it, I think it is fair to say that maybe that was all Ymir and not just this chapter.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna choose to believe anyway. And that she started with, I mean, I guess for two reasons, it started with only the Beast Titan. From the perspective of the reader, it started with the Beast Titan because then we wouldn't get this reveal as early as we did, or
Which
we would,
which
or rather we wouldn't have gotten. Isayama wanted to save on the reveal, so he started with only the Beast Titan to make it
right,
less obvious what was going on.
which is
But
brilliant, by the
right,
way.
yeah, absolutely. But I think from a like in universe perspective, I think it's possible that Ymir, assuming it's her who's doing all this, started with the Beast Titan because she needed a Titan that was good at throwing stuff and attacking things from afar.
Mhm.
So I think
Mhm.
in both of those ways, it makes sense that it started only with the Beast Titan and then now brings all of these others.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy
So
stuff.
crazy. Like 'cause this chapter is just a brand new kind of crazy. I mean, we've had so many crazy chapters in this
Mhm.
series, but like this this chapter, oh boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad to see that Onyankopon is still breathing.
Right. What a champ. I mean, he's basically out,
Yeah,
but he's breathing. That's all that matters. He's alive. There's hope.
yeah. He's gonna be fine. Hopefully, most likely, I think.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just so happy about that. Because if he was gonna die, I would have been so sad. Because he's like the purest character
Right.
in the story.
Yeah. Him out of all people probably doesn't deserve death. So
Totally not.
at least
Yeah.
at least a young death. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
I find it funny that the first thing. I mean, I understand completely, but just the first thing that Mr. Lionheart says, just like, wait, can you hear me? Do you know my daughter? Do you know Annie Lionheart? Where is she?
Yeah.
Where is she?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's really sweet of him as
Oh
well.
yeah. I mean, obviously he cares about his daughter,
Yeah.
but
And
but
oh my
just
god.
the ellipses from Oyagapo just dot dot dot.
Yeah.
Don't worry, take your time. It's okay. You can answer when you're
And
ready.
yeah. And also like the fact that Mr. Leonhardt has, you know, kept the hope up that his daughter is alive for all of these years. I think
Yeah,
that's amazing too. Like,
he's a good
yeah,
dad.
that's amazing.
So we get a shot of Karina here, or maybe I should wait until later, but I don't know. I'll bring
We
it
can
up
talk.
now.
Yeah, we can talk about her.
I I really don't hate her. I was actually
Yeah.
surprised how many people just kind of loathe her. At least, I mean, no. Hey, I don't want to call but anybody out. But have you heard of the You Hear Big Girls podcast? I don't know if you have, but they have this like undying hatred towards her, and
They do.
I mean, I don't know. Oh, you do know that? I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. The fact that they do, and I was so shocked when I heard that. Cause I'm a relatively new listener, so I didn't know all the drama or the reception that she had received. So
Mm,
it's the last chapter. I was quite shocked to hear that. But for me, I see her more of a victim of the system, victim of Marleyan propaganda. And
yeah,
yes,
for
she
sure.
did use Reiner, and that was totally the wrong thing to do, and
Mm,
not a credit to her character whatsoever. And she even realized she used him for revenge. But that's the thing: people can change, and when people's eyes are opened, I think it's important to try to forgive them, and second chances, third chances, for those kind of
mm,
chances are a thing. And I
yeah.
and I don't think she was doing it all for malicious bad reasons. I think that she did want to give her son a better life as well as herself and get revenge. But
Mm,
I think again it was just caught up in the whole Marleyan propaganda. That's at least my interpretation of it. And I'm so glad that we're seeing this repentance and this understanding from her. In in
yeah.
in my opinion.
I agree. I really agree with you on that. I obviously, yeah, she has been a amazingly awful mother, but as a character, like as a fictional character, I really enjoy her for the relatively small character she is. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
think she's really interesting for what she is, and and I think the fact that she's able to bring out so much emotion from the fandom, I think is pretty cool as well.
True. I guess that's a sign of a good character. I just didn't
Yeah.
realize it was so passionate, like the hatred.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think like most fans probably view her as the worst mother in the series, which is probably true. Can you think of any worse mother?
Yeah, Historia's mom to me is the worst mother. I understand her awful circumstances, and
Yeah.
she got the short end of the stick in the whole thing. But I do think there was love still there with Reiner's mom, even though there was a lot of manipulation and you know indoctrinating Reiner. But at least he had someone to love him, had a
Yeah.
mother, whereas Historia didn't really have anybody except for her half sister. Is that what it was?
Yeah, yeah. Frida.
Frida, yeah. That's how I view it. But I at the same time, I do see the argument. No, be indoctrinating your children is way worse. Um, I mean, it kind of led Reiner. You could argue led Reiner to want to commit suicide. But anyway, it's a very complicated situation. Um,
Really, really is.
and so I understand people. I understand now why people would loathe her. But at the same time, I do enjoy this enlightenment, this awakening in her,
Right.
realizing her faults.
Yeah, and my last point I want to make, just comparing Karina to Alma,
Sure.
Historia's mom. Right now, like in the ending of the story for Karina, right now, she is becoming a better person. I think. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people might just think, oh, this is just like a shallow, temporary thing, whatever. But no, I
Mm.
think I choose to believe this is her growing and realizing what her mistakes and what she should do, going forward, and how to live
Yeah.
more healthfully. Meanwhile, in Alma's last moments, if I recall, when she
Mm.
before she was murdered by Kenny, she begged him to kill Historia in place of her, which
Oh.
is just so awful.
Did she also say, "I wish you'd never been born" or something along those lines?
I think
Or
so.
was that too
I think
cliche?
I think those were her very last words. I think,
Oh,
or
okay.
at least something at least basically that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
Like right when she was
Yeah.
killed, like that's what she
I
said or
mean,
something like that.
that to me that can really scar people.
Yeah.
I obviously what Karina did to Reiner led to some awful things, but Historia is a champ because she didn't necessarily let that stop her. I mean, obviously she had down moments and
Mm.
it was very traumatizing for her, but she kept moving, kept moving forward. And anyway, I mean, I guess kudos to to story on that one. But
Yeah.
I mean, look, if my mother supposedly has told that to me, I
Oh
don't
boy.
know how I would be able to take that, to be honest.
Yeah. No, Historia is really strong
Yeah. Hmm.
about these all these Titan shifters that are appearing on Aaron's back, or Titans, not necessarily shifters, I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, to what capacity do you think they are, quote unquote, revived? Like, is it with a
Hmm.
person inside of them, or is it just well, it's probably not, right? Because Zeke didn't have
I don't think
Zeke.
it can
Yeah,
be, especially if we determine that Ymir is the one who revived the Beast Titan.
right,
Then
exactly.
yeah, there can't be other people there. Now, if it was Aaron or somehow manipulated Zeke into doing that, maybe. But I'm with you in that I don't think there's any bodies in any of these Titans
Yeah, yeah,
or human bodies in any of these
yeah,
Titans.
exactly. Based on the fact that Zeke's Titan didn't have Zeke in him, so
Right.
these are probably also empty or well without a human inside. But it is also pointed out that they do fight. They don't fight like mindless Titans.
Hmm.
So like, where does that come from, or why
Well,
like
why did Zeke grab or form the rocks and throw it at the
right?
zeppelins or whatever they call them?
Yeah,
That's intelligent, right?
yeah,
So I,
totally.
I think it's because they're being controlled by Ymir, and Ymir obviously being somewhat omniscient, she
Mm,
can't she can control the this many titans at once with the founding titan. So I don't think it's necessarily that there's spirits inside of them that are controlling or being controlled. I just think their bodies are the ones, or at least the titan bodies are the ones being controlled. But
mm,
that's my interpretation. I know some
right,
people probably will see it differently, especially those who are fans of the afterlife
right.
in Attack on Titan, which it I can't disprove it at this point, but I think it's more so that Ymir is omniscient and she's able to control multiple Titan bodies at one time.
Yeah, and which I think I'm also mostly inclined to think that as well. But
Hmm.
I do like the Valhalla theory, and while I don't think, I think it's obvious that these aren't actually the exact same as they were when they were alive, because Bertholdt would never try to eat Reiner, for example, stuff like that.
Hmm.
So
Well,
it's obvious.
maybe in some people's fan fiction he would, but not not in this.
Here,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, I mean that's a good point, but yeah. Sorry, I lost my track of thought.
I'm so sorry. I'll be honest. I was waiting for that one.
I started thinking about a thing I saw once, but
Oh no.
and yeah, I'm trying to get that out of my head now.
I'm sorry.
So, as an alternative to the fact that Ymir is controlling them, well, I mean, although yeah, I still mostly think that she is, but as an alternative, it's possible that they somehow, by drawing some kind of thing from the afterlife, if that is a thing, maybe it's possible that it's just taking like the instincts or like those sorts of things from the Titan shifters, not
Hmm.
necessarily their like morals or like their alignments, like
Personality.
Right, yeah, like all like none of that stuff, but just
More
like
just
their
more so their
instinct.
skills
Yeah, their
and
skills
instincts.
and their instincts and like those sorts of things. Uh, Potentially. But I don't think that's the most likely thing. It's just something I wanted to point out because I think it's possibly a possibility.
You want to? I have one other idea that probably deals more with afterlife,
Mhm.
or could support the afterlife, I guess. And it's a little shonen-y, but it's just a possibility that in an ending like this could potentially happen. What if they somehow are able to appeal to the original Titan, shifters, Bertholdt and Porco and everything. Somehow they're able to appeal to them, and they they have a moment where they fight back and um, join the alliance in fighting Ymir and Aaron there. Uh,
Oh,
so that could be interesting, and that could possibly explain Bertolt crying or that sort of thing. I just I don't know if I want that to happen, because I remember how people complain about Falco being too convenient and whatnot. I think that would be a little convenient as well. I mean, just
yeah,
or a little, maybe a little unoriginal, if all of a sudden they just stopped being controlled and like, no, I'm gonna fight back. I have my mental power, my willpower is stronger than yours. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I don't think
I've
so.
never really liked that trope in some anime,
Yeah,
and so I don't know if I like it here. But I mean, then again, I at the same time, if it happens, I'll accept it and I'll be okay. Let's we'll go with it. But I'm kind of hoping it doesn't happen like that.
yeah. No, I pretty strongly think that it won't. Well, because they're all connected to Aaron's Titan body by wires.
Hmm.
I think if those wires are severed, these titans from the past will stop working.
Right, but it's the whole soul instinct thing. Maybe somehow they fight back. I don't know. I don't want it to happen, and it wouldn't make any sense. But
Right.
I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Who really knows? I mean, I don't think anyone saw this coming.
No, exactly, and that you know I went back and listened to last week's discussion, and
Hmm.
or not last week, last month,
Oh yeah.
uh, and I was trying to see if I had said anything similar. The only thing I said was, "Oh, what if?" Or I expected a action heavy chapter, and we got that. But I was thinking that maybe Aaron and the Beast Titan would fight back somehow,
Right.
or maybe the Warhammer Titan would come in. But
Yeah.
I had no idea that this armada of Titan powers would attack back. Like this goes way beyond what any of us were thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think kudos to Isayama for setting this up and delivering, really.
Honestly, yeah. Like I can see why some people didn't like this because it was such an unestablished thing, but I personally I really liked it because I think it was, briefly established with Zeke's Titan form in the previous chapter
Yeah,
and even though it wasn't like even though it hadn't had a lot of build up, I still think it was really really interesting and getting to see all of these Titan forms that obviously we're going to talk a little bit about the different forms uh in a bit, but
right.
like getting to see all of that, I think added so much just interesting stuff to the world of Attack on Titan, and yeah, super
Totally.
cool.
For sure. It just it makes the lore more rich.
Totally.
And not only that, but we understand more of what the founding Titan can do, or at least what,
Yeah,
the true
yeah,
power of Ymir, I guess you could say. And Ymir, what she does with building the Titans each and every time, you know, of course she'd know the design of all the other Titans. She's the one that built them. So
true,
it
true.
it it, it makes sense to me. Now that we're in this moment, beforehand I'd probably be like, "What?" But now that we're in this moment, it makes sense to me that she could do that, and she could have an armada of Titans using the founding Titans chemistry, if you will.
Right. Yeah, I think so too, for sure. And one thing I noticed about all of these Titans, all of the enemy Titans in this chapter is they're all drawn without eyes, just like Eren and Ymir have been drawn
Oh,
a
good
lot
point. Yeah,
recently. Uh, Obviously, just like a small little detail, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
it's a good point. I just wonder what that implies, other than they're controlled by Ymir, who
Yeah, I'm
can't
thinking it's
see her eyes. I mean, it
probably
could just
that.
mean soulless. It could mean,
Could be.
I mean, that's only really two reasons I could see. Either it's just, Ymir's the one controlling them, which would put some of the theories we discussed before out of the realm of possibility, I think. And then
Hmm.
another, they're just soulless husks. But
Right. I mean,
either way,
one of those two, I think,
yeah,
is it, or a combination of the two for sure.
yeah,
One thing I really loved, real quick, was Peak's sprint up to Eren's head. That was
yes.
so hype.
Gosh, I loved it. I
It
loved it so
really
much.
it felt so promising for a while because I mean obviously Peak in her Titan form is so nimble and like is able to dodge all of those Titans on the way and just wraps the bombs around Eren's neck. It's like it felt so good, felt so promising for a moment, but then obviously Warhammer
Yeah, Warhammer. I mean that was pretty hype too. But
too. It
the
was
it was nice. I mean, nice callback. Not that they had any relation. It's cool to see the Warhammer again.
very cool. I
But
mean they did fight on the same side in
true.
in the Battle of Liberia, so
I think, yeah, this sequence was one of my favorites. Just how she weaves past all of these titans, you know,
yeah.
as they're biting at her, clawing at her, and I mean, there's a lot of MVPs in this chapter, and it's hard for me to decide on who is the number one MVP.
Uh-huh.
I think Peak makes a very good case though, and her willingness just to get the job done and
Yeah.
almost doing it is amazing to me.
She's definitely my MVP for this chapter, personally.
hmm But it was such a hype moment when she put those bombs on there. Mikasa's like,
Oh,
"Wait, no, don't do it!"
yeah.
And her line, "Now, now vanish, you nightmare." I wonder how long she thought of that. Like how long she was thinking of going to say that. She's like, "Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna save that."
Yeah.
But too
Right.
bad. I don't think she's done. I actually think she still has a high
Mm.
possibility of somehow bombing the neck. I don't think it will stop Eren. Maybe it will reveal where Eren is, but it won't be the end of it. But I do think she has a high chance of actually detonating the bomb.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Although like it's strange because the Warhammer Titan pierced her Titan through like the chest and the arm,
hmm
not through the nape, though not where Peak resides. So supposedly Peak's human body is fine.
Yeah.
And we saw in the battle in the recent battle in Shiganshina, Peak transformed into a Titan immediately after having been in Titan form
hmm
on one instance. So supposedly she could just hop out and become a Titan again, like form a new Titan body, possibly.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I mean the Warhammer Titan is a tough opponent, so
Yeah, for real.
especially now that she's alone. Like at the end of the or at the end of the chapter, she's alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm worried about her. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if she's gonna die yet, but yeah. I mean, you gotta worry. You gotta be worried.
Yeah, I'm so worried. I want Peak to survive. I
hmm
really do. Too many of the warriors have died.
Yeah, I agree.
So I guess should we talk a little bit about the Titans, the designs of the all the different Titans
Sure.
on the page where Peak kind of announces her speculation about, or well, it's basically pretty much safe to assume it's the truth. But well, yeah, where she says
Yeah,
that these are the Titans from throughout the ages.
totally agree.
We see an armored Titan who looks like the Thing from Fantastic
I
Four.
really like that one. That's my second favorite.
Nice. And we get a crocodile jaw titan, I
Oh, that's
suppose.
really cool too.
That's got to be a jaw titan, right?
Uh, I think it could be a cart.
Like I was thinking like the body looks more like a cart, but with the jaw like that, how can it not be a jaw titan?
But you know, um, what's Peak's jaw is very long as well.
It is. It is. I guess some of the cases it's hard to distinguish. Um,
Mm,
some of the titans have breasts. I was thinking they're probably female titans. However, Frida's founding titan did too, so it's
oh
possible for
yeah.
other titans to have female breasts.
Does the Warhammer? Because I mean, technically that's a false body, but doesn't the Warhammer has
The one
any?
without a face.
No, um, Mrs. Tiber's
Oh yeah,
Warhammer.
right, yeah. But I'm thinking that the one that doesn't have a face, or like the one at the beginning that attacks Reiner.
Yeah, which is my favorite one.
Okay, that's your favorite one. Okay, yeah, the
Yep.
faceless one. I'm
Hmm.
thinking that's got to be a Warhammer Titan, right?
I agree. Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's so cool.
Yeah. Well, we got Porco's and Marcel's Titans come back to haunt Reiner for a little
Oh
bit.
man,
I felt so sorry
bro.
for Reiner,
Yeah.
and obviously, Bertholdt's Colossal comes to haunt him even more as well.
Yeah. The icing
Uh,
on the cake.
yeah, totally.
I think there was a snake titan, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like underneath the one that was also almost eating Connie at the end, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it was probably that. There's also one that looks furry. It's like a bear or a wolverine or something.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like yeah, some kind of like wolf kind of
It's like
thing,
it's like
or
tackling Reiner,
yeah.
headbutting Reiner.
That one was really cool. Obviously, we couldn't
Hmm.
see it super clearly, but it was
Right.
yeah. I mean, it looked like a canine kind of animal, sort of.
And then you have the bald middle-aged man titan right
Yeah.
next to him.
Yeah,
Ferocious, man.
and there's also one that looks like a moose or like an elk or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like it's legitimately like four-legged and has like antlers.
Yeah, where was
Like
that?
I
I
think
remember seeing antlers.
it appears like two or three times I think in the background.
Uh,
It's never like very detailed, but I think it appears two or three times in the background somewhere. Uh, I thought that one was really interesting just because it's so different. Obviously, that's a beast titan, but it's so cool. My favorite titan out of the new ones we see this chapter is the Minotaur titan.
oh, where was that one?
It's underneath Bertholdt's colossal titan on the double spread page. It's so cool. Obviously, it's a beast
Oh,
titan.
yeah.
That's
I like that one.
like
Yeah.
hands down my favorite because that's just so cool because it makes me think about like you know potentially the world of Attack on Titan has a somewhat similar history as the real world. Obviously, not exactly, but I think there's probably cultures and stuff are inspired by real world cultures
Hmm.
and religions and stuff like that. So I'm thinking like the Minotaur like back in like ancient Greek mythology. What
Mm-hmm.
if that exists in the Attack on Titan world as well? Then it could have been inspired by an actual Titan that looked like that. Like just thinking about it that way,
That's a cool thought. Yeah.
I think that's really fun.
Do you see the Warhammer Titan behind that Minotaur Titan? It looks like it has a cape and just drapes all that.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my
that's I
god.
mean that's really intimidating looking. Kind of
Really.
cool.
There's so many. Oh my god. There's so many cool ones. There's also like one that looks like a mummy kind of like a Warhammer
Oh
Titan that has
yeah,
like looks
yeah.
like it has like bandages going like horizontally like all over its face.
Mm-hmm. Ymir got creative.
Really, yeah, she really did. It's funny how like she always when she makes the like one of the nine titans, she always puts so much effort into their designs. But when she makes like just the regular pure titans, they're like the ugliest thing ever.
It's true.
But should we move on and talk a little bit about Armin and what's
Oh sure.
happening with him?
Oh yeah.
So when we get back to him after this little fighting sequence, it looks like he's falling into some kind of darkness. And this reminded me a lot of when Ymir was falling down below the tree.
Oh really? Yeah,
I think it
I guess.
looks like visually, it looks a lot like that. Obviously, Armin never, entered any tree, but obviously he's not inside of a Titan right now, or at least not in a traditional sense. I feel like when he was pulled into that Titan,
Hmm.
I feel like maybe it did it bring him to some other place. I don't know. I don't know.
I think because there's a shot before that where Armin starts narrating.
Mm,
Above it is Levi says hurry, and then below is I should have been more careful. I'm fading. Is
yeah.
he just going to suffocate me to death here? Meaning he at first he thought it was Aaron, but then he realized it was Ymir.
Right.
But you could tell he's still all slimy, and you can see the tongue right next to his face. So I think
Oh yeah, you're right.
th- this is a symbolism of his mind, and
Mm,
kind of like what he's thinking, and that's why Bertholdt appears is because it's in his mind, and obviously they have the connection because of the colossal titan.
right.
Um, so that's how I interpret it, and the reason why he's in that position is because obviously he's stuck like that in the mouth with his
Yeah.
mouth open and everything.
Mouth open, legs spread.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Poor
gosh.
poor guy.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah. I think I see that now more. It's like some kind of like just in his head, kind of dream like state, sort of maybe potentially. But yeah, yeah. And then we got Bertolt crying through his right eye, just like his Titan did in Armin's head right after Armin had eaten him.
Yeah.
So that was a nice
Very
callback.
ominous.
Ominous for sure.
Good. Yeah. Good callback. I wonder. Is that going to inspire some sort of change in Armin? I wonder. Maybe that kind of shows him he shouldn't give up when a life was given for his own. Um,
Mm.
but maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just Bertold haunting him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for more with Bertolt here. Like when Bertolt appeared in front of Armin there, I sort of expected there to be some kind of maybe some like possibly even some kind of interaction between them in some way, but I guess maybe that would have been strange.
Yeah, I mean, we've never had aside from the attack Titan powers, we haven't had Titans able to communicate with previous selves. They just
Right.
see memories.
I guess I just thought the first time I was reading it, I just kind of figured with all
It
of
would just go
these
in that
pre
direction.
well, yeah, with all of the Titans being revived around him, or revived in some capacity at least. I was thinking, ooh, well, the afterlife theory is a thing still, so what if this
Hmm.
is actually gonna go more into that? Obviously, it didn't,
Right.
but yeah,
I think what's going to another point, if that's okay.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's interesting what Aaron's mindset here. One, he determines that this is Ymir's tactics, not Aaron's, and so they both want to destroy humanity, or at least is what he concludes. But Aaron is just moving forward, whereas Ymir is basically doing anything to make sure it happens. Stopping them.
yeah, pretty much,
I think there's really, and maybe you have another interpretation of it, but I think there's two interpretations. It's either they're working as a team to get this done, or Ymir is having a great effect on Aaron somehow.
mm,
I I find that one. I deep down inside I want to believe it because I want to believe that there's an Aaron that wouldn't do this, and maybe there is, but I go back to that chapter where he basically frees Ymir, and
mm,
unless that's heavy manipulation by Ymir herself, I can't I can't see that being someone who is controlled. Um,
yeah.
at least by Ymir herself, maybe some other force potentially, but at this point, I think it's safe to say they're on the same side, and if that's the case, they both need to be stopped.
Right. I think my view on that is that it might be a little bit of a combination of the two.
Oh, okay.
So I think I think it is absolutely Aaron is working with Ymir. They have they have a common goal. Aaron wouldn't have freed her if he didn't, and
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't have been working as hard as he did up to that point if he didn't, because he
Mm-hmm.
knew that this was going to happen a few years in advance. So I definitely think that's the case. However, I think right now, last we saw Aaron, he was, in the chapter where he reverted back into like a childlike state of mind, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
and he just saw the outside world and the clouds, but he didn't see the destruction below the clouds. I think he might not be 100% aware of what's going on in the moments right now. And
Interesting.
maybe it's possible that if he was in control, that maybe he wouldn't have wanted everything happening right now to happen the way it's happening. But I think he is still prepared you know, to do whatever it takes to achieve his goal because he has been working so hard toward it. But I do think at the moment he might not even be necessarily aware of what's happening.
You bring up that point, and I for some reason I had read a few panels of this arc, and one was the part where Aaron says when he kissed Historia's hand, he saw a view of that view, or however he puts it, an
Right, yeah.
image of that view.
Hmm.
And I remember when that chapter of young Aaron being above the clouds, we read that. I think you brought that up, and I was unsure because I couldn't remember. But going back to that, I think you're exactly right. That is the view he saw,
Hmm.
and I think among other things, is he had to figure out how to be able to do all this in order to make that happen. But that was the view he saw, and I think that's what he potentially coveted and felt like that was what needed to be um, work work towards. I think there is merit to what you said, and it could potentially be just Aaron not in his right mind in a way. I'm sure we'll find out more. I still believe that they'll pull out Aaron somehow, whether in paths or in this world, and ask him or and get him to speak his mind more clearly, and get him to answer that question. But I guess we'll see. Did that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
guess.
think I think it did. I think it did. It's just really hard to say, obviously.
Oh, right, yeah, totally. I mean, I,
But
I could be
yeah,
totally wrong there. Just one other thing about the scene is uh, Aaron brings up the fact that Ymir, the founder, is invincible. So, not did I say Aaron? I meant Armin. He kind of has a defeat his attitude there, like he's given up,
yeah.
almost, and but he's given up, and that's when he sees Bertholdt. So I wonder again. This goes to my point. I wonder if this is the catalyst to wake him up and say, no, you can't give up. You got to do something. And I guess I want to bring this question: do you think Armin will get out of this by himself somehow? Whether somehow activating his thunder spear or
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how he does it, but either he
Yeah.
gets out himself, or do you think the bird people will help him out?
The bird people. Um. Yeah. I would love for him to do it himself because
I would
last
too.
time last time he was going into a Titan's mouth, he wasn't able to get out of there himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for him to be able to do it himself this time. But I can't see how. Because I feel like assuming it's Ymir who's controlling that Titan that's got him wrapped in his tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm pretty sure Ymir would have done that in a way so that Armin wouldn't be able to transform. To be thorough about that, but who knows? I'm gonna stick with my hope though here, in that hope that he
Okay.
will find some way to probably activate his Titan power and escape through that
Yeah,
way.
I think that's the only way. Is he has to
Mm,
activate that power somehow. I don't know
yeah.
how, but I mean, it could be the Thunder Spirit. It could be, yeah. That I really think, for me right now, the only way I can see it is somehow he uses the Thunder Spear to damage himself, and that allows him to transfer the Colossal Titan. like we discussed, I would like him to get out on his own, but at the same time, the other option that I wouldn't necessarily mind
Hmm.
is, the people on the back of Falco. Sounds on the back of Falco. I don't know. It sounds like a band name or something. Maybe not.
That's a really good
Um,
band name.
and um, they fly in and save him, and I think it would be really sweet and good hype-inducing thing if it was Annie who was the one to get him out of the depths of despair, the mouth of
Mm.
despair. Um,
Ah.
yeah, and maybe she can have a witty one-liner about the tongue action or something.
Oh no. Yeah.
um,
Uh,
but I think that'd be cool. However, that does raise an issue that I had last chapter with Armin transforming into the Colossal Titan. Because I don't know if you
mm,
remember this, but I was a little unsure about him transforming. I thought it would be really neat and it would be a waste if they didn't. But at the same time,
right.
I was worried about the collateral
Collateral.
collateral effect
Yeah, yeah.
of Armin transforming into the Colossal Titan and then not, and possibly killing or damaging the rest of the allies.
Right.
So him being over here by himself and them being on way up in the air, there wouldn't be any danger. So they're kind of in the prime position for him to transform, although he's away from the head. But I think it'd still be a good time.
Mm,
But
mm.
then we go back to it's in loop. It's a cycle. Oh well, how does he escape? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of like give or take, and maybe what they could do is get him out of there and then somehow put him in position to where they can make an escape while he's has time to transform. Don't know. It's gonna be interesting, and I can't wait to see how he pulls it off.
Mm,
But
yeah, absolutely.
either of those ones, I'll be happy with. But I would like to see Armin try to get out of this by himself.
Yeah, I agree. I also think, like, my hopes are also that he's going to do it by himself, but I did like your idea of Annie maybe being the one to help him out of there. I mean, she she knows what it's like to get out of a tight situation and being all droopy and slimy.
I've been there, man.
Yeah, so she could relate to that, I guess. But yeah, probably one of my, if not my actual favorite moments in this whole chapter was Jean rescuing Reiner from being eaten by the colossal titan, and then they're hanging there, and the little interaction they have as they're hanging there together.
Yeah, it was a good moment.
And what Jean says there, like he's basically saying, like making a point out of how Reiner's Titan, it's breaking so often, despite the fact that it's the armored Titan, but it just it breaks a lot anyway. And I thought that was interesting because it made me think of that aspect is kind of true also for Reiner's personality, like just Reiner as a person. He comes off as being very tough, but he's actually pretty fragile as a person.
I think that's a great connection.
Yeah, I just thought that was uh, a nice physical to emotional similarity with Reiner there.
Hmm.
But yeah, also just in general, Reiner and Jean here just looking at each other and having those sharing that moment. I was very touched by that.
Yeah, I liked it. It didn't stand out to me as much, but I still think it was a good moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that Coney is just hanging there by himself. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a hard worker, but he's obviously not as good as the other guys. But it's got too bad that he's just kind of bait on a hook.
Yeah, for a bit, he's just hanging there upside down. He resembles his mother a bit in the position he's in, upside down, like his mother's Titan.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
I mean, he snaps too, and he's able to save Levi after Levi saves him. I mean,
True.
Mikasa saves everyone's butt.
Yeah, I know. I I was gonna say this, but for me, Mikasa is the MVP. Just
Fair,
she's a
fair.
beast here.
She is, but at the same time, I feel like she always is, sort of.
No, that's true, but I think for the most part she is. But I think some people were starting to like, oh, what's her point? Or I don't like Mikasa that much anymore. But I think we see how awesome she is here, and
Yeah, yeah.
just amazingly skilled that maybe some people forgot.
Fair, fair. Yeah, because she is everywhere, helping everyone all over the battlefield here.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool. And when she goes like a little crazy on that page before Falco shows up,
Yes.
or actually when Falco shows up, because you see his wings behind her. That's a pretty cool imagery, I think. I like it. I think it's a nice callback to the Trost arc when she, also has this kind of very much like unusually outspoken for her character and like being acting that way. Um, I wish it would have lasted longer. I wish we would have seen her like this more
Hmm.
this chapter. That's really probably my only complaint there about Mikasa
I
right
don't
now.
know. I mean, I get it. I also think it's supposed to be a little like not comedic, but yeah, maybe a bit comedic, because she's about to go into a speech or whatever,
Oh yeah.
and then she's interrupted by Annie. It's
Oh,
like no one has
good
time for your
point.
speeches right now, Mikasa, even though you never have
That
any. Um,
yeah,
but for me, it was a really cool. I still think it was a cool moment, and it just shows that I don't know when her back's to the wall, just how much of how much of a beast she really is.
mm.
But I think it also shows how scared when she gets scared. I think this is what happens to her.
Oh yeah.
Is she just kind of roars and come on, come fight me, or whatever. And I think that's what happened
Yeah.
back in Trost. Is she was obviously scared because she lost Aaron. And, hope wasn't there as much. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this. It's probably nothing, but
Hmm?
her her the image of her, screaming, and then behind her you see the wings. It's almost as if she has wings.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little lower on her body, but it's really cool imagery, and I don't know if they're gonna keep that for the anime or not. But I think that could be really cool to see. But
Totally.
it maybe a little hard to make that adaptation. But
Actually, I could totally see that like in an animation kind of thing where you have Mikasa in the foreground and then you kind of see the wings kind of like flap up kind of behind her.
uh
Like
huh.
you don't see them at first, but then just flapping up kind of like
Oh, that'd be so cool.
that would be super epic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I know using the word epic isn't very epic, but
I mean, you do you.
yes, I do. But yeah, it's definitely very cool imagery with the wings behind her there. And I think it has good potential for animation as well. And obviously, yeah, this callback to the Trost arc, I also got a bit of that same feeling from Jean when he's holding on to Reiner and he's saying that, you know, we'll struggle to the bitter end, basically. And it's because that was very much what the Trost arc was about. Like everything felt hopeless, but everyone just kept fighting anyway. I mean, I guess that's honestly the whole story, I suppose.
True, that
Uh,
is the whole story. But I do see what you're saying because, yeah, they had no hope. Uh, obviously, Mikasa lost hope
yeah.
because Eren died, and she was basically ready to just succumb to death. But then she had remembered Eren and popped right back up for a bit and
Hmm.
was ready to fight. But then Eren saves her, a
Yeah.
Titan savior. Some sort of twist happens, and that's basically what happened here. Like she was ready to go down fighting, kind of,
Mm.
and then a Titan comes to save her, or them.
Oh yeah, you're
So
right. Yeah.
I guess there is that kind of
True.
similarity there.
Yeah. And then of course, predictable bird titan swooping into the rescue is predictable.
I mean, yeah. Ever since we knew heard Falco, we knew that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Some predicted it before, but
Right. And we also pretty basically had everyone basically also predicted that yeah, they were going to swoop in and, do something like rescue or do
hmm
something, that was needed at the time. Or like I think most
right.
people had that prediction and yeah, that happened. But I'm cool with it. I think at first I was a little bit skeptical, like I don't know, but especially after having seen all these different, unique, cool
Right.
Titan designs that appeared on Aaron's back, seeing this one that resembles a bird really doesn't feel that weird. And I think the fact that it's a jaw Titan that appears as a bird at first might feel a bit weird, but then you think, yeah, he became a Titan through the spinal fluid of a beast Titan, and on top of that, that beast Titan was also of royal blood, so that could have also had an effect,
Potentially
like to make it more work better,
potent
Uh,
or something.
so in general, yeah, right. So in general, I'm I accept this. I'm cool with Falco becoming a falcon or whatever you want to say.
I mean, I'm totally fine with this. I don't see what the problem is other than, it saved their butt at the end. And
Right.
I think what makes this more valid is the fact that you had all those different kinds of titans there, and they just weren't beast titans. There was potentially a cart titan that looked like a crocodile, maybe a jaw titan,
Right.
and other sort of animal qualities in some of the titans that were definitely not just beast titans.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I don't find this an issue. To be honest, I would have been a little. Actually, after this chapter, I probably would have been okay with his design, but I still would have been a little perplexed and just curious as to why he made Falco look that way, look made his Titan look that way if it couldn't fly. But the fact that it flies now, it makes sense to me. You
It
know.
does. Yeah. You're right. And another thing I really liked about, well, getting this insight into the Nine Titans and the fact that having animalistic qualities to them apparently isn't all that strange, especially Beast Titans. Hence the name, presumably, But we talked about that last month. But anyway, we learned that Xaver's Beast Titan before Zeke was completely useless in warfare,
Interesting.
and that's why I'm pretty sure that's revealed um at some point. I think it's in Zeke's flashbacks to his time with Xaver.
I wonder what it looked like.
Exactly. So I was thinking it could have been resembling any animal, really. So it was probably just some really non-athletic or lethal animal that it
A
resembled, is my thinking.
sloth?
Yeah, maybe it resembled a sloth and was just really slow and just couldn't do
I don't
anything.
know.
Uh, so yeah, it's interesting to think about that because now we have a good explanation, knowing how diverse
Mm-hmm.
the especially Beast Titans, but also other Titans can be.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. And I mean, we also knew since back from the Clash of the Titans arc, how even the pure Titans can be so very different in how efficient they are in like combat or just moving in general because of Connie's mother. Like her pure Titan is just completely useless. So imagine if although I it's probably not as likely, but imagine if one of the Nine Titans was that useless.
I mean, depending on who has control of the Titan, like what
Hmm.
government body does, they they might be like, well, that was a failure. Okay, well, you're gonna be eaten now.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's actually something I have thought of. Like, why didn't Marley just maybe like get a new person for the Beast Titan
Oh,
quicker?
right away. Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess they had Zeke in mind for the next one, so maybe they just felt like, okay, we'll just wait a few years. Zeke will be the new one eventually,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, maybe. Oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of this chapter, Armin and Peak are lost. Probably not dead, but they're lost.
Yeah, they're still on Aaron.
Yeah.
Where do you think they're going? Are they going right? Or are they just gonna stay on his back and just talk it out? Are they gonna go to Salta, or are they gonna just turn around, and head right back after talking it out? I guess so. I guess it doesn't matter, but I think just turn around and go right back.
That's where I'm really unsure. Like the way it looks, I feel it looks like they're going like just straight away from Aaron, so presumably to Salta, I guess, because where else would they go for the
Mm-hmm.
time being? But if they go to kind of like regroup for like a time, if they do that, it's going to be very brief. Like, they don't have time to settle down anywhere.
They really don't.
But more so than that, I probably think they're just gonna make a U-turn and fly back in. Maybe make a quick plan on that brief little turnaround. I think the action is gonna continue pretty quickly.
I hope so. I really do. If they go to Salta, I don't know. I worry that Isayama would be like, oh, let's have time for Annie's dad and Reiner's mom to talk to them. But I don't feel like now's the time, so I don't think he'll do it. But I mean, who knows? Maybe that's gonna happen.
I think that's gonna
Um,
happen at some point because
right.
or
But it
so
had to be towards the end, right?
yeah, exactly. I'm also gonna say after, like, not now, but after the battle is over completely. Because what I was thinking about that is Karina saw the beast titan, or sorry, she saw the colossal titan eat the armored titan, but she
Mm-hmm.
didn't see that John picked out
Right.
Reiner out of the armored titan.
Right.
So as far as Karina is concerned, right now her son is dead.
Yeah.
So she's distraught. We saw like the one panel where she just drops to the ground on her knees.
Mm-hmm.
And with that in mind, what I'm thinking is, and I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. Hopefully, I'm right. Is that after the whole battle is over, they're going to reunite with the people at Fort Salta and with the Eldians from the train.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Reiner is still going to be alive after the battle, and he's going to reunite with his mother, and she's going to be really happy to see that he's still alive. Because why would she be faked out like that for no reason? If Reiner's going to die in the battle later anyway,
Mm-hmm.
why would Isayama have Karina think that he died earlier? And in my mind, it makes sense that Reiner is not going to die, and that he's going to come back to his mother later, and she's going to be really happy that he's alive, and it's going to be sweet. I feel comfortable about this and happy about this because obviously I want Reiner to survive.
I think that's an excellent point. Uh, I'm right there with you. If Reiner dies without seeing his mother again, and Karina doesn't get to say she's sorry to him, then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's almost all for naught. That whole change, or it'll be less satisfying at the very least.
totally.
And I think he wants to have that closure between him and his mother.
Mm.
Same with the Lionheart. I think he's been waiting so long, and to kind of just yank his his hopes right out of him with not even him seeing his daughter, before she dies. He's that close to her, and yet he
Yeah.
doesn't quite know yet. I think that would be a bit much.
Oh my god, like getting Annie and her father to reunite again after what's it been, like nine years?
Mm-hmm.
That that's gonna be super emotional if it happens. And yeah, I'm so excited to see that. I'm probably gonna cry when I see that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Um, so I think both of them will still be alive
Yeah,
in order for that satisfying thing to happen.
I really hope
That's
so.
yeah, I hope so too. That said, if there is a chance or a moment where they do meet with them even briefly before going back to Aaron, which I think would be a mistake,
Yeah.
then there is a possibility that Reiner and Annie could die. So it just depends on the timing of when they meet with their parents again.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think I agree with you that I just don't think it's the right moment to go to Salta, especially since they probably don't know that. Oh no, does do Reiner and them know that the parents are there? I don't.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I
I
think
don't.
they're still both Annie and Reiner are still under the impression that their families are probably dead.
Yeah,
You know.
I think so. So I guess there is a potential that because they are going in the direction of Salta, and so before they turn around or as they're turning, maybe they somehow recognize their parents somehow.
Yeah.
That could be good, and I don't think that would put the death flag on them. I think they could still make it out of it, and then go talk to their parents afterwards. So there is that possibility. Either way, I'm on the they're gonna turn around, and as they're turning around, they decide who they're gonna save, Peak or Armin. I think maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm still gonna put faith that Armin can get out of there by himself. I'm gonna say they're gonna go after Peak first and try to detonate that bomb.
Yeah, the thing is, both are really crucial. Like, both the bomb where Peak is and
Hmm.
Armin as the Colossal Titan are both, like, very crucial to
Oh my
the
gosh.
victory. Huh?
Okay, I just had a thought.
What's that?
You know how Annie said that she can potentially take on the powers of what she eats? What if they
Yeah.
split? What if Annie transforms into a flying female Titan, and she takes a group and they go to Aaron, and then the other group, Falco, go to Peak, and they split that way.
Mm,
Too much?
maybe, but I mean, I don't know, cause yeah,
Hey, you thought that Annie would be or not you, but people thought that Annie could be the one that was flying and not
I
Falco in the first place. I
I
thought it was
mean,
gonna be Falco, but
yeah, I mean, I said I was probably unsure because, well, so it was implied on the boat that the female Titan had like an easier time adapting other Titan powers. Although at this point,
right.
I don't think that's the case anymore, just because of how easily Falco's Titan got the wings, and so I'm thinking that might have just been a thing. Like they tried out those types of gimmicks with the female Titan
Hmm.
because the female Titan didn't have any too remarkable abilities of its own, and that's just it happened to be that they tried it more on the female Titan.
Hmm.
But in reality, all Titans maybe pick it up equally easy.
Are we allowed to infer that though? I mean, I don't know. Is that fair for us to say that? Like, oh well, she's just wrong.
No,
Like,
I don't know. Well, I just think the fact that they're riding on the back of a flying jaw titan right now, I think proves that they're all picking up stuff. And Porco's jaw titan had an armored face.
right, true. But again, like we saw other Titans with different animal-like qualities, so
Yeah,
it's not. I don't think it's crazy to think that Falco gets this power and is able to use it, while Annie could also get this power and use it automatically as well, and maybe even better than Falco.
true. I mean, yeah, it's not out of the question. Absolutely not. I'm just a little iffy on it.
Right? Will it happen? You know what? I don't think it's a terrible thing. Like, or it's a bad of an idea, to be honest. I mean, why not have two flying titans?
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna say I'm against that idea though. Both
Why?
because, well, I don't like
What's
it.
so wrong about it? What's so bad about it? They split and try to save two people. Now, granted, maybe that's too easy of a choice.
Right. That that's one thing. And the other thing, I think, why why wouldn't Annie already be flying if why wouldn't they have made sure that she also got the flying abilities already
Well,
when they,
maybe she's already eaten the feathers. She's just waiting to transform because she didn't think. What's so funny about this? Like, I don't.
uh
I think like maybe she potentially ate the feathers and but didn't transform yet because why need two? You could just do one. Especially since they had to get off the boat. You know, there probably wasn't room for two titans.
actually, how does that work? How does one gain the power of flight?
Now I have no idea.
By consuming a part of the beast titan, right?
Well, but how did Falco gain the power to fly?
That's what I'm confused about too right now. Clearly we're missing something. It's probably super obvious.
Potentially. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just throwing that as a possibility. Well, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I guess I didn't expect you to be against it as much as you were, but that's fine. I mean, not everything I'm going to say is going to come true or even be enjoyable. But I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool to have them go both ways and
Hmm.
or have two flying titans. But then again, I don't need it to happen, and I'm fine with them choosing one or the other.
Right. We'll agree to disagree here. And I'm gonna
Sure.
say it. While I would hate for Peak to die, I'm afraid she might. I don't know. She seems like the kind of character that Isayama would have die, sacrifice themselves
Mm,
somehow. I don't know.
yeah.
In fact, I thought that would happen this chapter. But she seems to still be breathing. So
Right.
I'm still afraid that maybe she will bite the dust.
I
You know.
don't know. Yeah, I mean, she really doesn't have too much to lose. A lot of her connections that she has are gone.
Well, she still has her family.
Oh, the family's still alive?
I'm pretty sure she had family on the train.
Oh, she
Like
did?
there
Oh.
was a Mr. Finger, I think.
Oh,
On
Mr. Finger was there? Oh, okay, okay,
I'm
okay.
pretty
Well,
sure. I could be misremembering this.
if he's there, and I hope he is,
Yeah.
I think that kind of says, hey, maybe she'll make it.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
and you said this earlier. You don't want more of the warriors to die, and I kind of agree with it. I don't think
Mm.
Isayama would want more of them to die either. But she hasn't been with the story with the cast as long as the other guys, so
Right.
I understand.
Yeah. I would say let Connie die, but my one reason for wanting Connie to stay alive, even though I feel like for the most part I'd be fine with him dying, um, is that I feel like there's a possibility that there could be a resolution to his thing with his mom. Like maybe somehow she's reverted back into human form, and them getting together again would be pretty nice at the like
Hmm.
in the very very end of the story. That's like the only reason I want Connie to stay alive is for the potential of that.
I agree. I I was kind of against that. Not against, but I wasn't fully on board with that one, just because I thought Coney had or was having his arc or whatever, and maybe he was good. But that thing with his mom is a good point. And if they get rid of the Titan powers, then yeah, for sure that is something that I think we would want to see, even briefly. I don't need a conversation per se. Just it could be something really goofy or awkward, which would fit his
Right.
character. But
Totally.
I yeah I would like to see that. So I'm really unsure who is next on the Death Watch. To be honest,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe Levi, but I at this point I don't know. I don't know if he can kill him.
I don't know. It's hard to say honestly. I feel like I have reasons to want all of these to stay alive. Um, but as far as reasons go, as to like not want to stay alive, but characters that I think might actually die for various reasons, I think Peak is my number one. Sadly,
Hmm. She is in a very precarious situation.
yeah. Like it's that plus just the feeling I have.
Hmm.
And I feel like at the when they were in Odiha, she had a conversation with
Kiyomi.
Kiyomi, yeah, which felt like a death flag for
Hmm.
me. Like it felt like she was kind of saying goodbye to the story in a way. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Who do you think is the most likely to die out of
Oh
these? If you have
man.
to if you have to say one.
Who would I not care, or who would I not be too heartbroken if they died? Jean.
Oh no. No.
Although I do think his death wouldn't be as conclude or as good for their arc as the others, because honestly, I mean, John has some really good moments, and he had the whole forgiving thing, and he's grown on me and gotten better.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's had enough to make his death worthwhile, like say Hanji or Magath.
Oh yeah.
Um,
That's a good point.
I mean, I guess you can devote a chapter to that, but
I
honestly,
guess
out
so.
of all these guys, I'd or not a chapter, a whole chapter, like maybe a half
Hmm.
chapter, whatever. But out of all these guys, I think I think even Connie has kind of gone up just because of his arc in this arc in this his arc in this arc his
Mm,
growth in this arc
right.
has just been better, and I think he's moved up ahead of Jean for me. But as to who I think will die,
Mhm.
because I don't think Jean has a super high chance. I think the next one on the chopping block, I'm gonna say Levi,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
just because it seems to be an easy one, but
No, but I think
Levi
that's a good guess.
Levi is struggling right now, and it's at the point where he might need to do one epic sacrifice in order to get something to happen. I mean, for all I know, maybe I'm just describing what Hanji needs to do. Sacrifice herself to blow up the bombs. But I,
Mm.
I think Levi, not necessarily the bombs, but in somehow he will sacrifice himself, and that will be a major gain for the resistance or the
Right.
the alliance.
Yeah, I mean it would have to be like Levi and yeah, I I'm gonna say he's my number two, and as far as like who I would realistically think is
Mm-hmm.
going to die next,
Mm-hmm.
he would be my second guess. But I think the main reason why he's not my number one is probably why because a major theme with Levi has always been that he's like the sole survivor of various situations, and like
Oh, good point.
he keeps getting out of things when
Yeah.
his friends die, and based on that, I have a feeling that he might survive the whole story. But he's also like the only like older generation character left at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. It would be kind of sad to have the whole older generation just die,
Right.
and it just younger generation. But I mean, his time is almost. You could say his time is done. I suppose.
Maybe. Although based on how quickly he recovered to the point where he is now,
So right, not necessarily like skills wise. I think, he's doing the best he can, but more so that his time to be captain and to be someone who is a person who hunts titans for a living, that kind of living is supposedly going to be done. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. There's really no future for that. Whether Eren successfully destroys the world or they stop him, there's potentially
Yeah.
no future for that. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I
It
think
is.
your Hanji pick makes sense, and
Peak.
oh, that's a Hanji. Your peak pick makes
yeah.
sense. Um, and to my discredit, Levi is such a beloved character
yes.
that to kill him off, ooh, might be maybe something. Oh, a funny note.
Uh-huh.
Recently saw a picture next of Isayama next to like some band member recently,
hmm
like from the recent opening,
Right.
and just the comparison, you can see a lot of where he got a lot of his inspiration for Levi from.
Uh-huh.
I think like his hair is like the same length. He has the same kind of a glare kind of.
Yeah, it's like the same kind of hair quality and like
Yeah.
style in general. Yeah, it's cool.
So I wonder if that alone gives him some plot armor.
well, I mean, Isayama has
But who
said,
knows?
I think Isayama said, like in one of the earlier arcs at least, he said that the character he identified with the most was Daz,
Daz. Who's Daz again?
the coward guy who was shot in the
Oh
head
yeah, yeah,
two
yeah,
times
yeah.
by Connie.
Right, right, right. Daz.
And like back in like the Trost arc, I think Isayama made statements along those lines.
Daz?
I mean, wouldn't you also be scared shitless if you were in a situation like that? I mean, I think a lot of people would.
Yeah, potentially.
you know?
You know, it depends on my training.
Fair,
No, no,
yeah.
I probably would be pretty scared.
yeah.
But to pick that one out of all the other characters, I mean, I don't
It's
expect him
funny.
to pick like a major character, but that one in particular, I don't know. That is funny. I guess that's his dark humor for him.
right. yeah. as for other predictions and stuff,
Yeah.
Reiner said that he has energy left to transform one more time.
Mm.
So that's probably going to happen, for the
Mm-hmm.
final battle. We will have Reiner in the Armor Titan once more.
Oh man, what do we get? An Armored Titan versus Warhammer Titan. Let's go!
Oh.
Let's go! That'd be
I'm
so
so
cool.
curious also, like, is the final part of this battle also gonna take place on Aaron's back, or am I
Hmm.
gonna try to find some other way to make
I don't
that happen?
know.
Like,
Could they possibly fight in paths? I don't think
oh,
so, but that'd
oh,
be so cool.
that would be cool. But then again, I also feel like I feel like Aaron and Ymir kind of have like control of a lot of things in there, like
Yeah.
because we saw them kind of
I don't
move
know who
people
else would be able to
around
control.
in there before.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Uh, but I mean that would be cool though.
That'd be so cool. I do hope we see paths again. I
I
don't
think
need
we
to be
will.
explained. I just want them to go there again and have a
Mm.
good moment. But
Yeah, I feel like if they're gonna have one last conversation with Aaron, it would be in there,
hmm
possibly. Is my thinking because he's just a head right now. Can he even talk? He doesn't have lungs probably, so he wouldn't be able to talk.
I was thinking about that, and I did mention, or we did mention that. Yeah, he's probably just ahead. Last chapter or
Mm.
last discussion, but people's people people who transform into titans they heal when they heal when they transform. So is it possible that Aaron's entire body healed when he transformed as well? Is that possible?
I mean, yeah, I was thinking about that, but he was damaged so severely by
Mm-hmm.
being decapitated, and when we saw him at the end of the chapter after we saw the rumbling and after we saw Annie and Armin talking on the ship,
Mm-hmm.
in that final page when we saw Aaron, it
True.
was he
That's
was
right.
just a head, and
Yeah.
that was after he transformed into his Titan.
Yeah. You're right.
I'm thinking if he will talk anymore, it will be in paths. Is my thinking.
Yeah. That's fair.
Do you have any more predictions?
I don't think we'll see Historia next chapter.
Yeah, probably not.
I think Historia, I said this last time too. I think Historia will be either the second to last or the last chapter.
Mm.
I I don't know. I'm just gonna be a wimp and say one of those two.
Right. No, but that's fair. That's fair. And if this is the last volume, which I'm like
Mm-hmm.
50% sure of at this point, then I agree with you. She won't appear in the next chapter.
You're right. If there is another volume, then either she appears in that last chapter or not until the next volume. But if this is
Right.
the last one, then it's either second to last or the
Mm.
last chapter.
Regardless, I don't think she will appear next chapter.
Yeah.
So
Now that you said it, though. Now
now,
that you said
yes,
it, though.
now I said it. But I mean, I said it once before, and I was right then.
Oh,
Although we
yeah.
thought
Okay.
at first that I wasn't. But I haven't right about her not appearing before. uh,
Yeah. You've said that before. That's true.
or not getting the focus rather. Yeah. Um, but yeah. Mm, I will say this was the kind of chapter where I was like on the edge of my seat throughout the whole
Mm,
thing, pretty much the whole
right.
time.
Oh
And
my gosh.
like I was doing this weird thing. So like the first time I read this chapter, I was actually like covering my mouth with my hand in like
Mm-hmm.
excitement and shock, kind of like that kind of thing, where you put your hand over your mouth. I don't I really don't usually do that kind of reaction or
Right.
thing to, but I sat like that for pretty much the whole chapter. I sat with my with my hand over my mouth like that, just so tense. But yeah, I really really enjoyed this chapter.
Yeah. I I'm right there with you. It was just so amazing to see all the things you brought in and twists. You know, I'll just throw out a number because I've been liking number scales recently.
All right.
I either a 9 or a 10, like it was that
Nice.
good. I might even, I, I know decimal points are probably don't even matter. I'll probably put 9.5 because it's
Okay.
not my favorite chapter ever, but it is up there, like maybe top 5 or top
Mm,
3. Just I mean, in this arc alone, like it's just
gotcha.
fantastic.
Nice. It probably gets an 8 out of 10 for me, but that's still a very good score.
One other prediction that I had here is I think that we'll see Armin's Colossal Titan next chapter.
Yeah, I really hope so.
I think in order for this to finish, if this is the final volume, in order for this to finish in 3 chapters, that Colossal Titan needs to happen at some point there,
Yeah,
and whether the action happens in the next chapter or the chapter after that, I mean, it can go either way, but I
mm,
do think Armin will transform.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna agree with that because yeah, it has to happen at some point before the whole story is over. And if this is the last volume, then yeah, next chapter
Hmm.
better be.
Yeah, I'll be a little worried if it doesn't happen. I mean,
Yeah,
I trust Isayama, but if that doesn't happen, it'd be like, is this a little rushed? But hey, maybe I'll just roll with it and be like, wow, I'm so glad he did that.
right. I don't think it's going to feel rushed though because
Good.
at least so far I feel like Isayama has kind of been taking his time with the rumbling part of this arc.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think anything has felt rushed at all, really.
I don't think so. Yeah, I just worry. Well, I did worry
Mm,
when I realized what chapter this was and if this is the final volume.
yeah,
But I think, like I said, I think 3 chapters is possible to wrap it up.
total
Um,
maybe.
but if you think there's another volume, then wouldn't you think that it could be getting rushed if there is only one volume? I mean, it's not rushed. I don't think it's rushed yet, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at the pace it's been going so far, it doesn't feel like it. And I guess based on that, I'm I trust in Isayama. Um, but
yeah,
um,
keywords.
but really, it was this chapter that made me feel like I'm probably more than 50% now on that. There's one chapter or one more volume after this volume. This chapter really made me feel that way.
I'd be down. Let's do it.
Yeah, it
Let's
would bring
go.
it to a total of 35 volumes, right? I think if that happened. 35 sounds like a good number.
Yeah.
Moving on, I think we're pretty much done talking about the chapter. And
Yeah.
to end off this episode, I just wanted to touch a little bit on the first episode of the final season of the anime that came out recently,
Ooh.
which I think was a massive hit among the fandom. And everyone seemed to
Mhm.
really, really enjoy it, which I'm so happy about. And obviously, I loved it too, and I think you did as well.
Yeah.
It was such a positive surprise, I think.
I don't know. I'm not really surprised per se, because I had faith that they'd be able to pull it off. I don't think it's perfect, and I do have some gripes with it, but it's great for what it is, and I love the details they added in whether it be story or just environmental or action. I think all that was amazing.
Mm.
They nailed it, and the voice actors did a phenomenal job, especially Gabby. Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh
Gabby's voice
yes.
actors nailed it.
I was
I
so
mean,
happy with that.
right. I mean, same with Reiner.
Reiner and Zeke too.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Very good.
Yeah. So it's well done. Well done.
Very well done. I think the main reason why I say I was surprised was probably, well, Mappa hasn't done Attack on Titan before, and
Hmm.
we didn't know exactly how big the changes were gonna be, what level the quality was gonna be at, those
Hmm.
types of things. So with that, I was a little bit, I didn't know what to expect exactly before, but I was blown away, honestly. The art style, I love the new art style. I prefer it so much more to, like, compared to the previous. I mean, I love the previous stuff that Wit did too, but this new
Hmm.
art style is much more in my taste, and it's much more accurate to the manga too, which I appreciate
That
a lot
yeah,
just because of
that's
that. But
fair.
also, like,
Hmm.
really enjoyed that, and I think the animations were really nice. The 3D animations used for the Titans, sure, it was, we could tell that it was 3D animation. However, it was far better than any of the 3D animation that Wit ever did in seasons 2 and 3. The
Yeah,
the
I
colossal
agree.
titan, the colossal titan in season 2 and 3 looked shit.
Garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll
but
take I'll take this over Wit Colossal Titan 3D any day.
Yeah, and honestly, I can't complain too much about these.
If I had it my way, and we were able to have, I mean, I honestly, I the reason why I say I'm not surprised, in fact, I'm a little disappointed, is
Hmm.
the 3D is just it puts it it puts it out of perspective for me. Like, that's clearly just computer generated, not drawn, and it's not doesn't mesh well with the background. I've heard the opposite take. Like, people will say that while it's still, it looks terrible, but when in motion looks great. I'm the opposite. When they look still, it's like, oh, they kind of have this animated effect or drawn effect to
Mm.
it. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But then when they moves, it just looks so out of place to me. And maybe saying so out of place is exaggeration, because the Wit Studio was terrible with that. So
They
it's
really
better
were.
than that.
Uh-huh.
But I long for the Titan fights we had in season 1 that were beautifully animated
Absolutely.
in
I
2D.
I agree.
It
Uh
kind of hurts me not to see that.
yeah, like seasons 1 and 2, like also like season 2 had some good
Even
stuff
yeah,
between the
mm-hmm,
attack and the armored titan.
yeah,
Uh but yeah, like I agree definitely. Like 2D animation when done well, which it has been by Wit, is always more pleasing to my eyes than 3D animation, even when it's done as well as Mappa did here. But that said, I don't feel like I can complain too much, because I was honestly very pleasantly surprised by the improvement, or at least the how much better it was.
that's
And
fair.
especially I think the jaw and the card titan looked really good. Like I couldn't tell
Mm.
too easily. Personally, I couldn't tell that. I mean, I could tell that they were 3D animated, but it wasn't as obvious. Um, you know, Reiner's and Zeke's Titans were a bit easier to tell with. Like
Mm-hmm.
it contrasted a little bit more, but ultimately, I'm super happy with the level of improvement, and as you said, the voice acting and the music was amazing as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The background music, yeah, I love
Right,
that.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was referring to. But also
Right.
the opening and the ending music songs. I was
Mm.
I okay, yeah. The opening
I didn't want to
especially.
go into this.
I just want to touch on that as well though, because the opening music was,
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's one of the times when the fandom has been the most torn, at least in the anime, on the anime
Yeah.
side of things, because it seems like everyone either loves it to death or hates it to death. Maybe not
I mean,
exactly
I
that
don't
strongly,
hate it.
but like
Mm.
it's interesting. I personally, I knew which band was going to perform it. It's the band that did the ending of season 2,
Yeah.
which
I knew that too.
immediate
And that's
yeah,
why I was worried,
yeah, I was super
because I
worried too.
hate that ending.
Same,
Well,
honestly.
hate, you know what? Hate's a strong word. I think it's super creepy, but I like the imagery associated, like what
Right,
they had going on in the video. Like, I
but
was,
just based on the music, I'm
but yeah,
talking
just
like,
listen to
yeah.
the music itself. It's like, oh, so creepy, and just not me, not for me.
Yeah, like, it does a good job in like being creepy for sure, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
as a song, I didn't like it. And so I was definitely skeptical to this when I knew that they were gonna do the opening. But I was honestly super pleasantly surprised by it. I really enjoyed the song. I thought it, and with the visuals going along, it was a very very fitting, I think, for this part of the story. And I've had that song stuck in my head ever since that episode came out. Like every day I've been humming that for myself. I really really liked it.
I'll admit it makes an impact, and it's not a typical anime opening where it's you know some J-pop idol band singing a moe moe kawaii song or something like that.
if
It's
if
not
Attack
it's
on
not like that.
Titan, if
Can you
Attack on
imagine that?
Titan never did that, oh my god.
I think the backlash would be pretty bad.
That would be awful. Anyway, yeah.
So
But
I'm grateful for that. It's not that,
yeah,
but so I appreciate that uniqueness. But I think sometimes no offense to artists, and I appreciate, and there's a different artist for everybody, and people like
Mm.
different things. But I think some people just try to be too out there and too wild, and I get and I get going outside the box. I appreciate that, but this is not a song that I would want to listen to, and it's not really a song for me that gets me in the mood of what's about to happen.
Hmm.
Because I think the moods are all over the place with kind of the army cheering and the children chorus, and I guess I'll admit it fits the Marley arc with children fighting in war, and
Hmm.
it's about war and all that. I get that, but I also think it tries a little hard to be a little too hard to be unique and different. Am I making
You know,
sense at all?
I I see what you mean,
Uh huh.
but I think with this band especially, I feel like this song is almost a bit more toward the mainstream side because I think this band usually
I
is
agree with that.
far more like their ending song for season 2. That's more what they're usually like. But this song actually, I think, and the reason why I like it more is because they're not as much like they usually are, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so
That's
yeah,
fair.
that's my
I
take
mean,
on
I
that.
I didn't I didn't know too much about the band besides their ending, and then someone, I think it was Frederick in our Discord, posted a song by them that had nothing to do with Attack on Titan. I listened to it, and I said the same thing. Like, I appreciate their willingness to challenge norms and go all over the place,
Yeah,
but it's not
absolutely.
for me.
Right.
It's really not for me.
Fair enough.
But I will admit this. I enjoyed this song more than that one.
Yeah.
Um, and
Cool.
and who knows? Maybe this opening will grow on me as we go. But right now, it's my least favorite opening. I like
Ooh.
the other ones more, and I know it's maybe a little heresy, considered heresy to like Red Swan, but I really do love that song.
I mean, a lot of people do. I really don't, but a lot of people do.
Is it
So
just that
yeah.
it's too cheesy? Is that the?
For me, yeah, yeah, I think so.
That's funny. Anyway, I think it's just funny because my complaint is that this one is trying too hard, and then but I like Red Swan. When
Hey.
someone could say that one's trying too hard to be like a fallen angel. It's anyway. I like it.
Yeah, and you do you. I mean, to each their own.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. Hey,
Totally.
yeah, if you guys like it, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never gonna criticize anyone for their taste in music because that's something very personal, and I'm not gonna,
Yeah,
put any shame on anyone's
totally.
music taste. But I can say that I dislike something. That's
Yeah,
something that.
that's fair, and I know, and it will hurt sometimes. Someone will say, "I don't like that song," or I love this song." When you're like, "Wow, that's garbage,"
Yeah.
and it will hurt sometimes. I think what's important though is to realize people do have different opinions, and
Hmm.
to not. And I've seen this in our Discord, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I think we need to be more open-minded to different people's tastes, right? And not just automatically say, "Well, you're dumb," or all the other openings were just utter garbage before this. I mean, you can say that, but don't try to put people down because they like that.
It's a lot just about how you express your
You're right,
like what you think there. Yeah,
right.
there's a like a sense of balance you need to find, and
Tact.
yeah, yeah,
But
that's all good.
I guess they still. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's whatever.
I think we should probably run it off there. We've been recording for a while, but we also took a break in the middle. So,
That's true.
well, thank you for listening through all of this, if anyone actually did. And you can. Oh yeah, we changed the name of the channel since the previous episode uploaded of Titan Teatime. If anyone didn't see our Kaguya-sama discussion, brief thing on that. We just changed the channel name. Doesn't mean anything really. Titan Teatime is going to continue like normal, but we're also going to, be talking about some other manga stuff in podcast form on the channel. Basically just that. And James, we talked a little bit about the anime here.
hmm
Do you have anything to say about where you're going to talk about the anime some more, perhaps?
Yeah, you hear Big Girls. I'm going to be on their podcast for this month. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. They may do it in one go or have two separate episodes. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, I'm going to be on their anime section talking about this first episode of season 4, and it should be a good discussion. I'm ready to be enlightened by other people's opinions. So please give that a listen to over at You Hear Big Girls, and hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited to hear that discussion. Thank you again for listening, and you can find James as usual on Intensity on YouTube. He covers video game topics, mostly Nintendo stuff, Waifu Royale battles, and other types of Zelda, Mario, anything really. I feel like, fun stuff regardless. And you can find me on SoundCloud and YouTube as Leon Morris, where I make my own music. I compose the opening and outro music for this podcast. And, well, see you next month, where we will talk about chapter 136. Bye-bye!
Now vanish, you nightmare!